My name is Marian Drusick, and I am the Aging in Place Coordinator for NeighborWorks. And I would like to introduce Stephanie DeNaples, an occupational therapist, and Kristen Luongo, our other occupational therapist. Stephanie, as you can tell, has worked as an occupational therapist in a myriad of different settings with people of all ages. She's currently working in the school districts and is passionate about emerging technology for older adults. So we do have her helping with some smart home tech too. Kristen has worked with older adults for most of her career from inpatient facilities and into a person's home. In addition to working with NeighborWorks, she currently works in home health. For her, the most rewarding work is assisting individuals to achieve their goals of aging in place. And I want to give a special thank you to both Kristen and Stephanie for assisting with us. Both women have been part of the Aging in Place program since conception, and we're very excited to have them continue on with us to grow our program, but also to educate our friends, community members, and older adults. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it along to Stephanie and Kristen.
Okay, so hello. So let's start with the purpose of this presentation. We're going to go over what do we mean by aging in place? Who are occupational therapists and how can they help with aging in place? You'll hear me refer to occupational therapists as OTs. We will show you how they play an integral role in the aging in place movement. Next, what is universal design? We'll go over some major design principles that we use. Then what are some common environmental risk factors for falls in the home? Falls are obviously a major problem for seniors. Then we'll go over some common home modifications room by room, especially the most important rooms of the home. And lastly, we'll talk about some high-tech home modifications and some safety devices. Okay, so what do we mean by aging in place? Aging in place is the movement centered around keeping older people in their homes they love for as long as possible. Research has shown that people are happiest in the homes that they love. They often raised families there, they have many memories, and are generally most comfortable. They know their homes like the back of their hands. And again, the research shows lower levels of depression and anxiety in seniors living in their homes compared to seniors living in assisted living facilities. That said, the homes often require some level of modification to ensure safety and security. A little bit of effort, aging in place can be aging with grace. This lady seems to have figured something out. So let's talk about some common age-related conditions that are associated with aging. These conditions can affect our ability to safely interact with our environment. Blindness, or even slight decreased visual acuity, night vision, or blurriness from things like cataracts, macular degeneration. Some of these conditions can decrease people's ability to see contrast within their environment. Arthritis can cause joint pain, stiffness, and then subsequently weakness. Loss of range of motion in the joints, which can come from arthritis and joint stiffness. Dizziness can come from blood pressure related illnesses. Loss of strength. As we age, our muscles just aren't quite as strong as they used to be. Mobility, a loss of endurance, loss of energy can lead to decreased mobility. And forgetfulness, short-term memory loss, which obviously can be a safety issue. So what is an occupational therapist? OTs possess a unique skill set in assessing an individual's current and potential future level of function. OTs are trained to look at an individual's daily occupations. You may think jobs in this case. We mean things like the things you do throughout the day. For example, dressing, cooking, grooming, sleeping. OTs strive to help people be as independent as possible with their daily occupations. OTs are also trained to customize recommendations so that they're based on personal health status and so that they aren't just blanket recommendations, they're customized for each individual. And lastly, OTs see home modifications from short and long-term perspectives. They're trained to help you predict or prevent future accidents or falls. Again, OTs, home modifications are customized to fit that person's individual lifestyle and their environment. OTs can evaluate strengths, weaknesses now, and those you may have in the future, and determine how these impact your ability to perform your daily activities in your home. They help you plan for the unexpected. So this is an example of accessible design versus universal design. Some principles of universal design, there's 7 of them. The ones most important to the aging in place movement are, for one, equitability. The use of each of the design has to be for diverse abilities, not just people with disabilities, people that are able-bodied as well. They should be flexible to accommodate a wide range of preferences, left-handed, right-handed, tall, short, all different peoples of all shapes and sizes. They should be simple. The accommodations or the modifications should not be so complicated that they're difficult to use. And they should require a low amount of effort. They should not be more complicated or require more effort than the previous setup. Notice the visual difference between the handicapped accessible bathroom versus the universal design bathroom. The handicap accessible looks somewhat like a hospital bathroom, whereas the universal design bathroom looks like a regular bathroom in an everyday home. For example, doorknobs. The lever doorknobs we see everywhere nowadays, you would not assume that they are considered universal design, but a young person can use them, as a person with some hand issues like arthritis can also use them without it looking like somewhat like someone with a disability. There's also push, pull, rotate knobs that look like typical knobs, but they can be used in a variety of ways depending on the person's ability. So falls. Falls are not okay, and they're not a normal part of aging, even though they are very common. Older adults are hospitalized for fall-related injuries 5 times more than other causes. So that tells you that falls are frequently happening. And also 20 to 30% of falls result in moderate to severe injury, reducing the ability to live independently and increasing the risk of early death. So that just tells you that falls are severe. So where do people fall? Most people fall in their home. 60% of falls occur in the home. Most seniors have lived in their home a long time, but they've not considered the simple modifications that can prevent these falls. So the CDC has a very handy checklist called the STEADY. So as you see, it goes by rooms and then stairs, and it just asks you simple questions. And if you are to answer yes to these questions, it gives you an idea of how to modify that area to make it safer. Like I said, it's pretty basic, but it's pretty handy to get a good start. Okay, so this is how not to go down the stairs. Stairs are obviously can be a very dangerous part of the home. As fun as this looks, this is not how you descend the stairs. Stairs ideally should be well lit. There should be light switches at the top and the bottom, and even ideally there should be motion lights. That way you don't even have to use the light switches. Definitely free of clutter. I know it's very common to put things on the stairs that need to go up or things that need to come down, but these are things that are very common to fall over. And ideally there should be handrails on both sides. Most of the times there's just a handrail on one side, but we'd like to see them on both. The stair lift is a very common way to get around having to descend or to use the stairs, typically. That can really help with endurance issues, even joint pain and weakness. And even if you can use the stairs, sometimes it really helps just to have that extra help to not tire yourself out for energy conservation. The bathroom is also another common place of falls and injury in the home. We like to see a walk-in shower. That's the ideal. That way you don't have to step over the tub. Also a 3-in-1 commode over the toilet, which gives you the ability to have handles on the toilet to be able to get up and off of the toilet. You want to remove throw rugs or even secure them down with double-sided adhesive. A non-slip mat inside the shower and tub is very important because tubs, especially when there's soap and shampoo scum on the tubs that builds up, it becomes very slippery. A shower seat in the tub shower is very helpful for endurance issues. That way you can sit and enjoy your shower and not get tired. And then also a handheld shower head in a combination with the seat. You can sit, you can pull the shower head down and shower off and take as much time as you need. With people with visual issues, you can mark the edge of the tub with a colored tape. That way it gives you that contrast. It helps you know where the edge of the tub is. We like to see permanent grab bars on the tub in a variety of setups so that you can grab onto the front of the shower, the back of the shower. It helps you get in and out of the tub if need be. And you want to make sure all products that you need during the shower are accessible. That way you're not reaching or bending over. You're limiting that as much as possible. So again, here's another universally designed room. As you can see, it does not look like a hospital bathroom, but there's things that you would notice. There's the grab bars behind the toilet. There's the grab bars being used as a towel rack, which is okay because at least we know that they're sturdy enough and they're mounted into the wall. It's not just a towel rack. The sink has enough space underneath it for you to get your legs underneath if you are using a wheelchair. And there's ample space to move around that you're not bumping into things. And we don't see one looks like one good grippy bath mat, but there's no rugs laying around. Again, check out the sink that doesn't have anything underneath of it, so you can get close to the sink as you need. The grab bars on either side of the toilet for getting off and on the toilet. There's also a pull-down grab bar in the picture on the left. That way it's not in the way to get onto the toilet, but when you need it, you can pull it down and use it. Again, notice the grab bar is being used for the towels. That's okay as long as we know that they're mounted securely. So we want those grab bars strategically located throughout the bathroom. So on the side of the toilet, because getting up and down can be difficult, getting in and out of the tub vertically, horizontally in front of the tub if you need to reach to get if you're in the tub, laying down. And then on the side wall, you can either put them horizontally or on diagonal. And again, notice that handheld shower there, head that can help with getting showered off and not having to stand in one specific place. There's a variety of different finishes on these grab bars, which can help people with different degrees of hand issues or sensation issues. The sure grip really gives you a nice textured grip to hold on to. These are just some options that you've probably seen. Again, the universally designed sinks, they're really nice for being able to pull up into it, to pull a chair up into and have your feet underneath, and then do any kind of, makeup, grooming, even just washing hands and face. That way you can take your time, sit, and not have to stand over the sink. The one on the right does not have necessarily, has cabinet space for storage, but it also has that lip that comes out a little extra to give you that room. Again, more of the sinks. Notice that the towel rack here is a loop, and we'll talk about that later. That obviously is not mounted and meant to be grabbed onto, so it's not a grab bar. So sometimes having the towels held on something that is obviously not for grabbing, it's not a towel rack slash support system, can make you, if you do need something to hold on to and to grab onto, you're grabbing onto the right thing, not something like just a standard towel rack. So faucets can be difficult to manipulate with arthritic hands that have lost their strength, etc. The twist knobs can be tough, so we like to see more lever knobs where you can use even your wrist or your whole hand to manipulate them. Again, the hooks versus towel racks. We want the towels ideally on hooks. That way you're not inclined to grab onto them. And then the grab bars are there for grabbing. You can hang the towels on the grab bar, but at least, again, we know that they are mounted securely. So here's an example of the contrast we like to see for visual issues like macular degeneration, glaucoma, cataracts. As you can see, the grab bars are in a bright red. The shower seat in the back is actually blue. It really gives that definition to the environment compared to the bathroom before, which if your eyes are blurry and you're not seeing all the different edges, it can really be dangerous to know where to step and what to reach for. There's a variety of options for bath seating depending on the setup of the bathroom. You can have the wider seat, which that actually goes across the entire bathtub, but it actually comes out a little bit too. There's sliding seats that can enable you to sit and then put your legs in and then slide the seat in. Some of these are transfer benches. An OT is really skilled at letting you know which is the right seat for you that will take up the least amount of space but also be the safest for you. So here's some pictures of these seatings in a variety of setups. As you can see, the transfer chair that is actually over the edge of the bathtub allows you to sit down first and then transfer your legs in. Has a nice sturdy bars. And they're removable too. So if you find that you don't need them, it's something permanent. That's a nice part about them. These are some options for the toilet. So you can just have if the toilet is a high enough seat already, like a comfort height toilet, you can just have the handles installed on the back, which give you something to push off of and lower down with. The other option is an elevated toilet seat that is mounted onto the existing toilet. That gives you a couple extra inches so you don't have to sit down so low. And this one's nice because it also does have the handles on the side. So the kitchen, where a lot of people, we spend a lot of our time. First and foremost, we want to really reduce clutter, which tends to really build up in the kitchen. Clutter can be distracting. It can give it a chance of fall, and also just not knowing where the edges of countertops are if there's too much clutter around. We really want to see good lighting because the lighting will help define the space and help us be able to find the things we need easier without having to expend too much energy. We want those commonly used items all within reach. You don't want to have to be moving all over the kitchen to get a different spoon or a different knife or a different tool. Definitely remove those throw rugs. They're a danger in the kitchen as well. And it's nice to keep a chair nearby for rest breaks if needed during the meal preparation. Sometimes you just need a couple minutes just to gather your breath and then go back to cooking. Definitely want to see a fire extinguisher in the kitchen, possibly under the sink or somewhere close and accessible. And the microwave to the countertop if it's difficult to access. Sometimes people have the microwaves above the stove or down low where they're harder to get to. If you find you use the microwave often, then definitely have it on the countertop where it's just easy to get to. So this is a very nice kitchen, but this is obviously you can see the clutter around. The stools are fall hazards. There's just not enough space to move around safely. There's the throw rugs around. The lighting's kind of sporadic. It's not really adequate in all the different corners of the kitchen. So let's go to after. Now this is obviously a much newer kitchen, but as you can see, there's a lot less clutter. There is space under the sink to sit if you're doing a lot of washing of dishes or you just need a break. The lighting is spaced out. It's not just concentrated over the island. There's none of those throw rugs around. The island is rounded, so there's no sharp edges on that countertop there to bump into. And there's ample space to move around as needed. Some options for the kitchen are things like pull-out drawers. That way you don't have to bend down to get the things you need as far. You can just pull out the drawer as needed. Then again, you want to keep most commonly used items in these areas. Things like pull-out cutting boards are nice. You can actually pull a chair up to them and do the majority of the prep work that you need to. Having things like knives in a safe place where if you have visual issues, you don't want to be grabbing for sharp things. A knife drawer like this actually keeps the sharp blades protected in the drawer. So moving on to the bedroom, you want to arrange furniture to allow for clear, wide passageways and have an easy access to the bathroom. Oftentimes we need to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, so you want to make sure that there's a clear path right to the bathroom and that it's also well lit. So with some night lights or motion lights plugged in are a really simple way to make sure that if you have to get up and go, that it's safe. Any electrical or phone cords we want to have taped to the wall so that they're not a fall hazard as you're getting up at night. And we tend to want to have people to have a phone by their bed, so you make sure that that cord is tucked away and behind the furniture and taped to the baseboard. Again, those area rugs, throw rugs, double side tape them, keep them away, because at night when you are getting up, you're also often not at your best physically. We're tired, we're drowsy, and our body is just not as up and ready to go as we are during the day. So it can be a dangerous place. You can also consider the use of a bed rail. Sometimes that's really helpful to be able to have something sturdy to be able to push off of and hold on to as you're lowering into bed. A motion light or lamp next to the bed is helpful. There's that bed rail. So this is a non-permanent option where the grab bar or bed rails on the side of the bed, and the arm pivots out to get out of the way if you don't want it there, but you can also close it, especially if you're a mover when you sleep and it's possible that you fall out of bed. This will keep you in bed. The motion lights are really helpful, especially getting into the closet. That way, as soon as it detects some motion, the light turns on, and you don't need to fumble for a light switch. Okay, moving on, entrance and exits. Ramps and handrails are essential, or handrails especially are essential for these steps. They're often harder steps like cement. They can be dangerous due to they're exposed to the elements. They're out in rain and snow. If necessary, we recommend ramps. Lighter, we definitely would like some good lighting out here. Sensor lighting, motion lighting is really helpful. Sometimes a bench or a chair at the entrance just to take a break as you're getting your keys out of your bag, or just got up the stairs and you're tired. Take a break before you then go and open the door. We'd like to see visible, well-lit house numbers too, just for safety issues in case there's a need to call the police or any kind of other help. And again, there's that reflexive adhesive tape or colored tape to the edge of the stairs to provide that contrast for where the edge of the step is. Here's an example of how you could apply a ramp to a home. You could either have what would be considered like a temporary ramp that can be taken down, or even just an elevated concrete pathway. Both of them can be very helpful depending on the needs. And some of these design decisions with ramps are based upon available space. If there's not room for the ramp that would make the ramp too steep, then we recommend something with a switchback that decreases the steepness of the ramp. The living room, it's a lot of the same principles as before. Remove those throw rugs. Use double-sided tape to the edges of the area rugs. That way the edge doesn't roll up and cause you to trip. You want to secure those power cords, the TV cords, any cords, any kind of appliances onto the wall, under the baseboard to prevent the tripping. You'd like to keep your phone with you or carry a cell phone or a life alert with you, because typically when you're in the living room, sometimes the phone may be in the kitchen, but having that cell phone on you at all times is really recommended. Want that seating to be not too low, not too high. Sometimes couches can get really cushy and they get lower and lower as they get older, so it's harder to then get out of them. People end up kind of rocking to get out of them, which then can cause falling. Smart lighting is great, remote lighting, even clap-on lighting or touch lighting, anything that you don't have to twist the little knobs of the lamps. So moving on to assistive technology. What is it? There's low tech and high tech. We're all pretty familiar with low tech. That would be canes, magnifiers, walkers, wheelchairs, grabbers. High tech would be things that are a little bit more, not necessarily complicated, but they require a little more technology. A power wheelchair, digital hearing aids, these new smart devices, these electronic security devices that are everywhere now, and computers and tablets with specialized software on it. One of the little bit higher tech ones that we really like are these keyless entries that seem to be everywhere now. You can use a simple code for pushing the buttons to get into your house rather than having to fumble with keys or even turning a lock. Sometimes in the winter, those locks get a little stiff. So just a simple passcode to get into the house is easier with arthritic hands. You avoid the possibility of losing keys. We've all done that. They're illuminated for when you're coming in at night. And there's also a fingerprint option if you don't want to have to even push a button or remember the passcode. Just using a fingerprint is easy. Some of the downsides of these, they do require batteries, so you have to make sure that the batteries are always up to date, but they do give you warnings as to when the batteries are going low. So medications are essential for keeping people at their best, and taking them on time is extremely important. It can be easy to forget what medications and what times, especially if there's a handful of different medications being taken. We really like these medication boxes with reminders. They can give you a little alarm and let you know which medication needs to be taken. The not taking the meds on time can lead to falls, dizziness, disorientation. And these little reminders just give you a little extra help keeping you on time. Smart doorbells seem to be everywhere nowadays, and they really are helpful with avoiding the rushing when you hear the doorbell, which can then lead to falls. Sometimes it's not something you need to even get up for. Maybe it's just a package and they're going to leave it on the porch. But you can now see this. And it's also more secure because you can see who's at the door without even having to open the door. There's a variety of options of them, from very simple to ones that have cameras installed all over the outside of the home. But just being able to speak to the door from a distance and answer the door without having to get to it is really helpful. Simple cell phones. Cell phones can be really overwhelming, especially smartphones. Although they can be very helpful, they have a lot of options that can tend to overwhelm some seniors. The Jitterbug is a nice one. It has these large numbers. There's no apps. There's just a phone. And then that leads seniors are more likely to carry them if they're simple and easy to use. Touchless faucets are really helpful for not even having to use the lever handle at all. It senses when your hand is close by and turns on. You avoid twisting those knobs. It's also helpful for issues with short-term memory loss. If you forget that you left the faucet on, your hand is away from the faucet, it turns off automatically. Personal assistants, there's a variety of these on the market nowadays. They can be, very simple to, for use with just putting music on or alarms. They can set reminders for certain things. They become increasingly easier to use. They're just voice activated, so there's not a lot of fumbling with apps or learning. There's a lower tech learning curve with a lot of these nowadays. And surprisingly, they've been found to reduce isolation with seniors, because even though it's not a person, it does feel like there's someone there to help you or to listen to you if needed. But they're very versatile for alarms, for just even getting recipes or putting music on, anything that you need, and security as well.
So I would like to invite anyone who has a question for Stephanie or Kristen to put it in the Q&A chat box. I'll be happy to read that, and we can keep both of them around for a couple minutes to answer your questions. Is there anything while people are thinking about the presentation that either of you would like to add in regards to low-tech, high-tech, critical safety modifications, anything that perhaps was left out?
I would say I think Stephanie did a great job covering a lot of different options for folks. I think what's most important is just to keep in mind that there's never, it has to be personalized to the individual. We don't want to overwhelm an older person by making a lot of modifications at once. So it's important to identify which would be most effective for that particular person. And that's when somebody like an occupational therapist comes in handy to help identify what really would be most useful for that individual.
Speaking of occupational therapists, obviously, as you know, many of you know, Stephanie and Kristen are both employed by NeighborWorks. Is there a way that if somebody is not connected with a social service organization, such as NeighborWorks or the Area Agency on Aging, that they can identify or find an occupational therapist to come help them to perhaps go through the home and suggest changes that can be made?
Certainly. Do you mind if I take that one, Steph?
Go ahead, yeah.
If you find that you're not connected in some way, shape, or form with some sort of agency, you certainly can talk to your doctor, your primary care physician. That's a great place to start. And they can direct you to the appropriate agency, whether it be like an area of agency on aging or a home health company or NeighborWorks, you know, so that would be the best option to start there.
All right, so Peg has asked us, can safety bars be installed in a prefab shower surround?
Yes, they can. It's not often ideal, only because we want to make sure we're getting to those the studs. So it really has to be secured, not just to the shower surround. It has to be secured to the studs underneath to be safe. We see a lot of the suction cup grab bars, which we don't feel are as safe as the more permanent ones that are secured into the wall studs.
One of the things that we have found at NeighborWorks and working with our construction manager to follow up on what Stephanie answered is that some of the prefab shower surrounds, if you go, they already have grab bars on them. And so you can purchase a prefab shower surround with a grab bar already installed, which makes it safer. Jasmine asks, are all of these modification options available with the NeighborWorks Aging in Place program? And the answer to that is yes. All of these, including Smart Home, which is not necessarily available right now, but we are working on making that part of the program, are available. If you are interested, or you know someone interested in finding out more about the Aging in Place critical home safety modifications, please feel free to reach out to the Area Agency on Aging at 570-963-6740. Peg, did I give the right number? Just give me a yes in the chat box if I did. And so you are more than welcome to reach out to Area Agency on Aging and discuss the NeighborWorks programs with them. Thank you, Peg. So that is the correct number. We do have a question. How much does it usually cost to make all of these modifications? I can tell you, and then I'll turn this over to Stephanie and Kristen as well, that from our experience in working with the Aging in Place program, a typical bathroom modification, taking a tub shower unit into a walk-in shower unit, can be approximately $10,000. And depending on how many grab bars you need in a bathroom or other areas of your home, That can be typically between $2,000 and $4,000. Stephanie, Kristen, if you want to add in anything else about shower chairs and things like that.
There's a variety of options. So there, you could spend a wide range of money on these modifications, depending on going from how high tech to how low tech. So I think there's a wide range there.
Yes, if you are interested and you don't qualify for NeighborWorks or other grant-funded programs, there is a small loan program that is through the Pennsylvania Assistive Technology Foundation. I am happy to share more about their zero interest to 3.75 interest programs with anyone who may feel that they need these modifications. However, maybe you're not ready to go through a social service organization, or that's the other avenue that you have to take. You're welcome to reach out to me. My number is 570-558-2490. Are there any other questions? Okay, at this time, I want to give a huge thank you to Stephanie and Kristen. I also want to invite everyone to check out our Facebook page, NeighborWorks Northeastern Pennsylvania, as well as our website. We are currently in the midst of working on making sure that all of our pre-recorded seminars can get up and are accessible on both our Facebook page and our website. Keep checking back. As I mentioned, we're in the process of doing that. Should anyone have any other questions, you are welcome to reach out to me. My phone number, once again, is 570-558-2490. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.